بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد وقد قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في حديث الدعاء مخ العبادة أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Respected friends, brothers and sisters, I related before you a very short yet very comprehensive and meaningful hadith. And the hadith I stated before you means dua is the centerpiece of ibadah, is the core of ibadah. And this is so because when someone asks Allah, supplicates to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he humbles himself before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shows his humility and expresses his need in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the centerpiece of ibadah, of worship, which is the purpose of worship, and hence why dua is so dear to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In another hadith on the authority of Imam Tirmidhi rahimahullah, just like the hadith that I mentioned prior to this, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is reported to have said, لَيْسَ شَيْءٌ أَكْرَمَ عَلَى اللَّهِ تَعَالَى مِنَ الدُّعَاءِ. There is no thing that is more dear to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than dua, than supplication. And the reason, because again, one is at his most dear item of ibadah, which is dua, particularly in sujood. And sujood, if one makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is a position where one is most near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, coupled with the fact that he is performing the centerpiece of ibadah, dua, and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاسْجُدْ وَاقْتَرِبْ, as Allah says in the Quran, and prostrate, do sajda, and gain nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And coupled with dua, nurun ala nur, one has a great chance of his dua being accepted. And so the most nearest position to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is sajda, while prostrating one's most noble part of the body, the forehead, to the ground, the lowest of position in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, expressing one's nothingness in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the most high. When we go into sajda, we say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, pure from all defects that I render myself as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that being that is the most high, the most a'la, and coupled with something that is the most dear thing in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is dua. How can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala return such a person empty-handed? So we should make a habit of prostrating and in prostration making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And particularly if one feels that it is difficult for him to turn away from sin, whatever it may be, whether it's an addiction or it is controlling of the gaze or the ears or the tongue from gossip, from sinning, and whatever it may be, we may make the excuse that the environment is such that it is extremely hard, if not impossible, for us to refrain from such things. However, on the Day of Judgment, no such excuse will be acceptable. Why? Because was it difficult for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to refrain you from that sin, to protect you from sin? So why not throw the ball in Allah's court and ask Allah to protect us from sin. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seek refuge in Him from the shaitan and from the whims of the nafs, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for tawfiq towards goodness, because piety does not come from oneself, it comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a divine gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And likewise, the power to refrain from sins only comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. So we should turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance, and anything that is related to guidance and guidance of itself, when we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for such a thing, this is the type of dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never rejects and readily answers, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants guidance for His servant. Along with this, there's another hadith on the authority of Imam Tirmidhi rahimahullah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam therein is reported to have said, "Inna ad-du'a yanfa'u mimma nazal wa mimma lam yanzil." That indeed dua benefits one from that calamity which has came down. Prime example, very relevant to us, is the coronavirus. So it protects one from such diseases, if you will, or any other calamity of the dunya or the akhirah, for that matter. وَمِمَّا لَمْ يَنْزِلْ, and from that calamity which has not befallen you, which has not came down. So many times a calamity Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed to come down and befall a community, and because of the dua of someone, because of dua of an individual, or even a calamity that may befall in the future upon an individual, because of a person's dua from such calamities which seeking protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from such calamities that may befall a person or is going to befall a person, through dua Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects a person from that calamity as well. فَعَلَيْكُمْ عِبَادَ اللَّهِ بِالدُّعَاءِ. Thus, O servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, O slaves of Allah, it is incumbent upon you to hold fast to dua for protection from those calamities which have befallen upon you, and from those that may come or even are destined to come, because there is only one thing that human beings, you and I, have power over, and that is dua, to turn to Allah and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and even the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can change through the blessings of dua. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these difficult testing times. Turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from the current calamities and any fitan and calamities of the dunya or the akhirah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Thus we should express all our needs and desires, desires and aspirations before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ask Him thereof, and seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's karam and generosity and kindness, and inshaAllah al-Aziz, make it a ma'mul, a practice, a ritual, that we will sit down whenever it is convenient for us. If it's the time of the Tahajjud in the last third portion of the night, then this is the best time. If not, if one finds that difficult, before one sleeps, or after Fajr Salah, whenever it is convenient, raise your hands, inshaAllah. I address myself before you as well. Raise your hands before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 10-15 minutes a day. If you can do more, then that is great. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and experience, inshaAllah, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pulls you towards Him and His mercy and kindness, and you will taste, inshaAllah, the fruits of those du'as and the kindness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the tawfiq to act upon these ahadith that have been cited. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولكافة المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.